Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Space Engineers. This is a update to the build I've been working on, the Kalon. I've got most of it more or less fleshed out. I've added some weapons on the outside just to see what it looks like, and I've got the interior spaces mostly done except for some basic decorating and painting and one or two little compartments that I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with yet. But in the broad sense of the terms of being a usable ship, it is actually a usable ship now. Again, it's not fully complete, and I'm not quite happy with some of the details, especially not these big cannons, but it's all I could really find to fit on the small blocks that the ship is made out of. So we'll just start with the tour, and I'll try to explain everything as I go along, and if I miss something, oh well. So starting off on the outside, we have the main weaponry, the thrusters. There's a top and bottom of the ship, obviously, and it's pretty much symmetrical except for the landing or hangar bay on the bottom versus the top having a entrance to the ship, which is right there, and a skylight for one of the sections inside the ship. Otherwise, it's basically a mirrored top to bottom. Weapons, thrusters, and overall design. So it's got an array of upwards and downwards firing thrusters, as well as side thrusters. Main propulsion going forwards is provided by these arrays here, one in each nacelle plus one in the middle, as well as some interior thrusters pointing sideways. And then there's additional thrusters for braking in addition to the front up there. There's also several built into each side of the nacelle, top and bottom. That is an interesting sound, as well as, it's a little loud, where's the docking bay? As well as right below the docking bay. I've tried to keep all the thrusters away from any angled edges so they look like they just fit in better. So this is also had to be modded with some more powerful thrusters. I think they're the 10x version of the normal hydrogens, which is a little too powerful for what I was looking for, but it's what was available on the workshop. In terms of weaponry, it has, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 of these large 120mm cannons, I think they are. It's got an array of Vulcan cannons right here, as well as on the bottom. It's got some missile pods also on the bottom, and it's got these, I forget what these are actually called, but they're twin barrel rapid firing cannons of some sort. And then it's got some further Vulcan cannons along the edges here, on the bottom as well. On the inside of these, not sure what to call this actual structure part of the ship. I'm just gonna I guess I'll figure out that later. Another cannon at the end here, and then it's got missile pods on the ends of the nacelles for defense back there. And we'll just move inside and hopefully I explain everything correctly. So this is one of the entrances so far. I haven't added any other entrances since I'm still working on where to put those with the interior of the ship being so cramped and the actual space for entrances being kind of awkward, but this is just a simple irising door on top if I can find it. So this does that. It's got a ladder, which actually does work, and one of my favorite mods. You can go up and down the ladder pretty easily. And you can jump off or crouch off of it. So we can close that up if we want to, but it goes right into this door, which goes into another little hallway into another iris, which drops us down too far. We'll just pop that open and climb up to show you how well these things work. So these are pretty cool, and we'll just close that back up. So this is the main level, and this comes down and drops in right by the cockpit. So the cockpit has 2 chairs off to the side, some displays, 2 regular consoles, and then this is the design I decided to use for the main flight seat, which is one of Sage's industrial cockpits, which I think kind of looks cool, and it kind of fits how the ship would want to operate, with a pilot being right up front in full control over the ship and its functions from the seat in the center. And then there's a remote control here, which for some reason does not work. It used to work, and then I installed a mod or did something and it broke the remote control functions, and I haven't been able to get it working again through all the trying. This is the main viewport. Again, it's not really much of a view, and it's not supposed to be because it's supposed to be armored and protected. So it's not exposed on the top or the bottom or somewhere else. It's right here in front. So you get the front view, which is really all you need, because we have the handy little handy little V key that lets us do that whole view. And unfortunately, I'm currently doing this in windowed mode because the full screen version is bugged out and my cursor is all offset whenever I try to access the menus, which is kind of annoying. But so doing this in not full screen in windowed mode is a little awkward at times when I click somewhere I'm not supposed to. There's 2 lockers in the bridge as well, and those would be like for weapons or emergency supplies or something. Moving on, we will, I guess, go upstairs first. Again, both sides of the ship are mirrored left and right, so you can look at one side and see everything. So up here, this is the officers' quarters. There's 2 big cabins, which means they just have basically space for a couch and a desk in them. Each of the officer cabins also has a bathroom, toilet, shower. I haven't found a mod for a mirror that fits in the small blocks yet. So this is like the captain's quarters here, and this would be the first officer's quarters over here, or the nighttime captain, or something like that. However, it would actually be set up the hierarchy, the command structure. So there's a bed, there's a sofa, lockers, and the desk, and then there's a big screen back here. And again, it's the exact same thing on this side. The smaller officer quarters are just a bed with their own private bathroom. I kind of messed up and didn't really allot enough space for me to do what I wanted to do, and these would also have a LCD screen above them, which I did add to the regular crew quarters, but I forgot to add it to here. Again, lockers, bathroom, bed, and they've also got a little console to play with there. So there's 2 more of these, and then this is a unfinished area. This is kind of the branch for recreation and off-duty, basically. So off to one side, this is the officer's mess. So you'd have kind of a table coming out here. There'd be a little kitchen area for finer foods. And then over here, on the other side of the wall, is the regular non-commissioned officer's mess. It just would be just a table with some automated food delivery things or something in the wall. There might be room to add a small kitchen off on one side. I'll have to check that later, but I don't think there is. And then on this side, both doors go into this larger room, which would be the recreation room. I haven't quite finished this little bit, as you can see, neither the kitchen area, the mess halls, or the recreation, but this would be like some exercise equipment here, some light walling here, and then this would be like a movie theater or something over on this side. And then moving into the space again, there's a little skylight up there with doors that close. They are rather loud, so I'm not going to press that button because they make a horrendous clunking sound which would completely drown out everything else, and if you're listening to my voice on a normal volume, you might go deaf or something, so yeah. So then we will go down into here, which is just off a branch corridor, and pop down into here. I don't want to actually fall down too far, so oops, clicked out of there again. There it is. And unfortunately, it also makes sure I grab the ladder, but this is just a little control room for the hangar. Since the piston mod I was using would break every time I reload Spaceengineers, I just took the pistons out, but the controls were originally in this little room, and then once I find a way to add doors back into this hangar, I'll add the controls back into this little control room, which I think is kind of cute, to be honest. It's like this little space. One guy that comes in, he's like, oh, gotta launch some ships, open the doors, close the doors, do whatever he has to do in this little room. And then this little bit right here just is a little drop down into the guts of the ship, which are boring, so I'm not going to show you those, and I'm just going to try to get back up here again. So I'm going to run back through this area so you can start at the front of the ship for the other part. Also, this is the best way to get to the hangar, which is down here. Comes in these 2 little side corridors. So this is the hangar. As you can see, there's no hangar doors because they kept breaking, and I couldn't find a mod for the airtight hangar doors that fit into this space. There's space for 3 ships, 2 kind of small little fighters, and then 1 medium-sized transporter shuttle. And then off the back here, there's a little cargo thing for access. There's the cargo base, which is 2 rows of 4 on each side, so 8 cargo containers, total of 16 here. and then that comes back up here into a corridor, which we'll look at in a little bit, but we'll go back to where we were before and start the tour from there. Now you might be wondering why there's on the outside there's no newer angled blocks. I originally started building this ship when we only had the 1x1 designs for angled blocks, which were this group here. I didn't have these at all unless I wanted to add them into the client with mods, and I didn't want to do that, so I'm not going to be going back to add the outside into the 2x1s. It's going to stay the 1x1, so that's just the way I'm going to do it. It'd be too much work. So through here, and on this side we have just some more access up top. It's mirrored on both sides since I don't really have anything else to do with the space. And then over here is the armory, of one of two armories. It's nothing fancy, but it's there. And then this corridor kind of meanders around. There's stuff over there. So I think there's the bathroom kind of goes off that way, so there's no space to open it up. And then these are the crew quarters. Oops, I seem to have lost my gravity for some reason. Alright, well, let's turn the jetpack back on. That's weird. I thought I had gravity in this section, but I guess not. So this is the crew quarters bathrooms. Toilets on one side and on the end, and then some showers. And then there's a total of 4 areas, or 4 bunk rooms, I should say, for the crew. And each room has 4 bunks into it, so I think 4 times 4 is 16 times 2, so there's 32 spaces for crew. And I could probably find room to add more if I really wanted to, but each bunk has its own TV, their own safety deposit box, I guess, and then they each have their own double locker. Ideally, if this was an actual, real, physical thing, you'd have like a drape or a sound barrier and a light barrier in front of each bunk, but it doesn't quite exist in any of the mods I could find for this game. Alright, let me out of there. So again, there's another one here, another one here, and then another one here, and then it's mirrored on the other side, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this space, but it's probably just going to be more storage of some sort, or maybe just a small little recreation room for this side of the ship. So then we'll fly out over here, then go this way, and then this came down from the recreation room up there, as well as the access to that little landing control area, so that just comes down here. And then we'll go this way, and then this just goes down into the cargo bay right off of the hangar. Nothing too fancy. This comes back here, and then we've got kind of a little industrial center here with more storage. And this is all linked up internally with conveyors and such, but it's a little cramped. I kind of started running out of room and started shoehorning things in a little bit more than I wanted to. So you got some refineries, you've got a an arc furnace, and then you've got the assemblers with the modules on them. So then finally we'll go back into here, and this is one of the nacelles, and these were almost the first things I started filling in, which is why they kind of look a little bit different from everything else. Basically, the nacelles contain most of the ship's power in regards to forward thrust, as well as a large quantity of the maneuvering thrust up, down, left, right, and braking. So these are armored with 2 or 3 layers of light armor, and then they have their own separate storage of hydrogen as well. And you can access each of these individually and see exactly what's going on with each hydrogen container. And it goes back into here. You've got a little, airlock to reach into the maintenance areas. And then I added this glass here for when I was originally building that, because I thought this would be all enclosed and oxygenated, but I decided to not go with oxygen, and then I kind of just added these little airlocks because reasons I can't remember, but you can come down here and you can see through the crawl space on both sides, as well as over here, and then there's a ladder that would take, when the gravity is properly put in place, that would take somebody up and down to access things. And then I don't know why the gravity is broken. I might have accidentally messed that up a couple days ago, but I can fix that as soon as I get down the ladder. Let me check what I did with the gravity. Gravity, I guess we'll just see if yeah, that apparently fixed it. I guess depth and width are not what I thought they were. Okay, so that fixes the gravity, and we will come back through here. And we saw that, we saw that. Oh, yep, there's one more spot. Let's go look at the last little bit that I haven't done much work on. I put it in place, but haven't done as much work as I should. So we will just, oops, clicked out again. This windowed mode is really annoying. So down here is the primary generator room. We've got storage for uranium off each side, and I forget who exactly is the... Why aren't these working now? These were working just the other day. Now they're not. I don't know why these capacitors aren't apparently working, but they were the other day. So anyway, this is just a little generator room. It's got a couple layers of armor on the outside, and feeds from these reactors here, which are actually feeds from these cargo containers here, which are connected to the regular rest of the cargo system, so you can fill them up pretty easily. I've got a little control panel just for looks, and because there's actually no control panel on these, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. So we'll just climb up. Oops. Press the buttons I shouldn't have pressed. Pressed the button too soon to jump. Get up here, and there we go. It's a little finicky at times, but that's cool. So currently the performance of the ship is reasonable. It turns quite well because I'm using 25 times strength. What are they called? Gyroscopes. And it's pretty responsive. Acceleration is pretty good. It goes from 0 to 100 in a reasonably good amount of time for a ship of its mass. So go to 100 pretty quickly. Deceleration's a little bit slower, but not by much. It's got a pretty good amount of deceleration power from all the thrusters around. You can see on the bottom there. And then side to side is a little slower, but it's reasonable. And then up and down is pretty good. In fact, up and down is kind of a little fast. So that's about it. Got my little ship here. I've been working on this project for a while. It's gone through quite a few physical changes as well. It used to be much longer, with it the back extending outwards into kind of a conical shape, ending with the engine pod about 20, 25, maybe 30 meters behind the ends of the nacelles that you can see there now. But I was having trouble doing the hull, so I just shortened it up. And I kind of like the way it looks now. It's a very organic, but still very aggressive looking ship in my opinion. And so all that's left to do is to basically do some exterior detailing, figure out a way to add doors to the hangar down there, and then paint it all up. I am considering removing the hydrogen thrusters and replacing them with modded ion thrusters, just because the amount of interior space I'm losing because of all the piping and the storage for the hydrogen and all of that, and the hydrogen oxygen generators, it's a little stupid. So I might actually take out the hydrogen thrusters and replace them with some sort of ion thrusters if I can find similar looking ion thrusters to the hydrogen thrusters on the workshop. So yeah, I'm also looking for help to finish this project. I'm not very good at painting or detailing, so if anybody wants to lend a hand there, just let me know. Thanks for taking a look, and I will hopefully have another update soon.